Thank you, Pastor. We next have a mom and the head of Concerned Women for America of Iowa, Tamara Scott. Tamara, thanks for standing.
Thank you, Chuck. It is my honor to stand up for these very brave people, because as you've seen, just by standing here, they could very well become the next victim, the next target of a group such as Safe Schools Iowa, who has put individuals' names on their program under the big, bad right wing as people to target. Tell me that's not bullying. When a group calls out the Bible, because the Bible tells me so, and then asks, is it just a question? Is it just an excuse to hate? Tell me that's not demeaning. Is that accepting? And yet many would say that for some reason they have full right to do that. Do they? With many organizations that are funded on taxpayer dollars? Seriously? I am here as a state director for Concerned Women for America. I'm here as a mom. I'm here as a taxpayer. I was given to my children by God as an advocate for them. You, in this room, as adults, parents, and grandparents, are the advocates for today's children, tomorrow's leaders. And what Robbie Zacharias said just moments ago couldn't be any more true. How a civilization treats its children is the ultimate test. We're sending a very, very loud message. The governor's office says that this organization simply uses the title of his office. Yet the organization proudly boasts that the governor is behind them and supportive of their work. I would ask you as reporters, please do your job, fulfill your responsibility and investigate and find out who is in fact behind this, who is not. If this organization can use a title so high as governor without his approval, is that really an organization that needs to deal with victimization? Sounds like they're pretty powerful, doesn't it? Perhaps they're the one doing the bullying. If they can have the highest man in the state and use his title without his permission. See, that's the issue here for me. It's hard to claim that they're victims when they have so much reach. Whether it's TV, media, movie stars, hardly look like a victim class for the kind of representation they have. Yet there's a greater group, a larger number of students who do suffer persecution, I would say, more often. And that would be the very same people that they're attacking, people of faith. In your public schools, on your college campuses, I brought just a few stories right here in Iowa, where students were either persecuted, ridiculed, or bullied by professors, by classmates, because of their faith or their conservative values. 135 pages from another organization. Clearly, there is a group that does need protection. There are a larger group than the LGBTQ group, and yet they're not included. At the very least, when taxpayer dollars are included in this, should we not expect that all Iowa children would have the same protections and be included against the idea of bullying? I would just say to you, if an organization is going to hold an event with a title such as governor, at the very least we can expect that all Iowa children will be protected. This is too important at the time. We can no longer sit back. We can no longer wait for someone else. I applaud the pastors that are here. And I ask every other pastor in the state, where are you? I applaud the parents who are here. And I ask every other parent in the state, what are you doing? You can no longer assume that in the halls of academia, your children will hear truth, cornerstones of our foundation, the exaltation of the supreme being that's mentioned in our national documents. They're gone. They're treated with the Chuck says or anyone else. The evidence stands before us, and it's time that we do stand up and be the judge and the caregiver for our children. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tamara. Next is Jake Dagel, DMACC student. Jake, thanks for standing.
I'm the chairman and founder of the DMACC, Young Americans for Freedom, which is a conservative group on the DMACC campus. About 2 weeks ago, students received an email saying that they may receive a free ticket to the governor's LGBTQ conference. Our group was astounded, and on March 20th set the SWOR, Freedom of Information Act. As a result of the FOIA request, I now hold proof that DMACC is using your tax dollars and my hard-earned tuition money to fund this conference. Marlena Schnell is the chairman of the Diversity Commission, and we call on her to revoke the funding. We ask that you call her and that you email her. DMACC in all its media interviews this week has said they stand by what they have done as they call that diversity. Let me be clear. Diversity is not when you use my tuition money or our tax dollars to fund a conference that bullies people for their Christian or conservative beliefs. DMACC, revoke your funding.
Thank you, Jake. And finally, we have Senator Dennis Guth, and after that we'll take questions from the press. Senator Guth, thank you for standing.
Thank you, Chuck. It seems like many times when conservatives seek to make a stand, they find that there's very little that they can do. Down at the Capitol, when we learned of what was being done at DMACC, they're using taxpayer dollars to fund this conference, there are at least 16 of us that have so far decided that we would do something about that. I think there'll be more sign-on as we have time. We've been kind of rushed in getting this put together. But the 16 of us have signed a statement that says, based on our desire and commitment to be faithful stewards of our tax dollars, we cannot, in good conscience, vote to give taxpayer dollars to people or groups who pervert the Bible, teach our youth to engage in dangerous behavior, and target individuals like Jan Michelson for hatred and bullying. We have proof that Des Moines Area Community College, through its Diversity Commission, is using tuition and taxpayer monies to sponsor the governor's LGBTQ Youth Conference as a result of information obtained by the DMACC Young American for Freedom chapter through a Freedom of Information Act request. Therefore, we as representatives of the people of Iowa will vote against appropriations for DMACC unless they withhold taxpayer dollars from the governor's LGBTQ Youth Conference. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. In conclusion, we urge parents especially to take responsibility for your own children. That's job one. Pastors, we urge you to continue to warn your parents when things like this come at your families in your church. And lawmakers, we appreciate those of you who are here and those of you who have signed this statement. Lawmakers, please, please, please consider our tax dollars as a mere sacred trust. Please do not use them to attack the Bible or to bully Christians. Thank you. We open up for questions now. Does the press have any questions to follow up?
Has you personally communicated with Governor Branstad?
Yes, several times. I met with him face-to-face over a year ago regarding the 7th annual Governor's Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Youth Conference. And he told us that he was not only not going to take his name off, but that he was going to post a letter on his website, which he did, in full support of the conference. We suggested to him that he do a bullying conference of his own that would be comprehensive, not just targeted to a specific group or groups like lesbians or transsexuals or bisexuals. He did that. Last November, he had a comprehensive bullying conference. And honest to God, we thought that had solved it. Then just a few days ago, I got a call, and sad, but truthful call that his name was back on this year's. And so we've approached him again. Several of us have. I talked to him face to face again this morning. I gave him my comments that I was going to be giving today, and just asked him to protect all children. I hope that he heard what Robbie said today and took it to heart, that the ultimate test of any civilization is how we treat our children.
Chuck, are many of the other groups associated with the conference, do they receive taxpayer dollars, do you know?
Dave Barnett, do you have the conference brochure sufficient that I can find the co-sponsors? Is that, from memory, Aviva Insurance, Iowa State Education Association is a lead sponsor. I'm a lawyer, I haven't checked the legalities. I think technically when a teacher receives tax money for their salary and then has some money deducted from that ahead of time for union dues, it's probably not tax money per se. I think there's a delinkage for the union dues. So, I don't know. That'd be the closest. With the largest teachers union in the state is a major funder. And frankly, when I address adults who ought to know better, the teachers union ought to know better. Those are our kids' schoolroom teachers.
If you go onto the website, look and see the sponsors and the people who cared enough to put their logo on the conference website. And I believe you'll find the other schools, state-funded schools as well. So again, that would be my encouragement to the media to investigate for us and see.
In follow-up to that good question, Craig, I do understand that several high school kids will be coming to this conference. I think it's sold out, 750 people or something. And so tax dollars will be used to transport our school children to the conference at the Prairie Meadows Casino.
Do you have any plans to be there?
We do have plans. We had a conference call 2 days ago with many of these people, and several of them immediately while we were on the conference call registered to attend the conference, but one of the emails back was that they're full. So I think our contingent may be on a waiting list.
Outside, do you have any plans to have your voice heard outside?
No, haven't discussed that. Probably would be appropriate.
Chuck, you had mentioned that last year you had an issue with the governor. You talked about this. What makes you think he'll change his mind this time that you're calling again for him to remove his name?
Well, one very interesting reason that he could change and remove his name is something that just came to my attention late last night and was mentioned by Pastor Yak, and that is that one of the conference leaders, Mr. Sinovic, S-I-N-O-V-I-C, S-I-N-O-V-I-C, has apparently targeted Terry Ranstad, called him Turkey of the Year, disrespected him. And so it would seem to me incongruous that the governor would want his name on a conference that is led in part by Mr. Sinovic. It just seems, I mean, here's the smell test. I can't imagine a Pastor Floyd lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender youth conference, and that Pastor Floyd would not be able to do something about that. That's the part that the disconnect that I'm having here.
If I could ask, what is the solution here? We seem to have two worlds that are really colliding
Yes.
culturally. So what
Thank you. I expressed that in my opening comments, and because of time limitations, I can't list all of my proposed solutions. I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards. I think at root, the main solution is for these people, pastors, shepherds, Christian leaders, to A, warn their own flocks about the wolves that are coming after their kids. B, empower those parents to find solutions, to find alternatives to this depravity. For the lawmakers, they've got a ton of clout. They could fix this in a heartbeat if we had 2 more votes in the Senate. So there are solutions. Culturally, it's a much longer gig. We have to get people into Hollywood, like the Albany Baptist Church that's put out Fireproof and Courageous and Facing the Giants, and some fabulous, fabulous entertainment. There are ways to change the culture, but I think the main responsibility, the main action point from today's conference, but for the next millennia, however long we have, is for parents to take responsibility. If parents won't protect their own children, I think it's kind of phony for them to expect the schools to protect them. Now, parents can get involved in their schools, but for parents to outsource their parenting to people who are promoting bisexuality, I got to tell you, when I read this conference brochure, and I saw one of the workshops is about bisexual activism in your K through 12 school. Bisexual activism. And yesterday's top story on the Drudge Report, did anybody see that? Over 100 million STD infections in America, over 1/3 of our population, and we want kids to experiment with bisexuality? So if a parent isn't aware of the conference and their kid's getting transported to it, the parent needs to say no to the school. Don't take my kid. And if the teachers and other school personnel and other students that come to the conference and go back to plant the seeds in their own local school district, and these seeds sprout and they have gay, what's the name of the clubs that they have now? Gay Straight Alliance? You have a Gay Straight Alliance in your school, and Christian kids aren't, welcome to come and share the truth with the kids in that club. And I think the parents have a responsibility to look at alternative schools, Christian schools, secular public schools that are teaching the truth about biology, homeschools. So there are answers, not easy, but I hope today we all are expressing that we're willing to try to bring answers. And it's worth fighting for our kids' bodies, minds, and souls. It's worth fighting for our kids. And that's the Papa Bear in me. I love my kids, and I'm not going to have the governor or Safe Schools Iowa or any other person or group trying to take my kid's body, mind, or soul. I'm not going to stand for it. It's wrong. Parents, that's the main answer. And these pastors who have so much influence with parents. And then you all, the media, has probably the greatest influence with kids who don't have good parents. The media needs to clean up its act. Thanks so much for being here. I'll stay around for questions. God bless you. It's a busy week. Dave, thanks for being here. All of you pastors, God bless you. Thanks for being here.